Welcome to r/IDontWorkHereLady. In today's stories, lady smashes glass door because I won't let her inside business I don't work at. Overbearing Karen thinks I work in a doctor's office. Finally got to tell a customer what we'd all been thinking. Old granny mistakes me for a gardener. And finally, no, I won't make you a goddamn sub. Congrats on getting banned from Publix. What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. If you enjoy Reddit stories, don't forget to hit that like, that subscribe button, and that notification bell. It really keeps this channel going. I tell you this every time, and it really does. I can't stress that enough. And if you want to see some spicy memes, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Our first story is from Skipping Pebbles. Lady smashes glass door because I won't let her inside business I don't work at. My best friend and roommate works for a small independent print shop as a graphic designer. We live in the burbs and the shop is located downtown, about half an hour from our house. Oftentimes I will be downtown for an appointment of some kind and will ride home with her rather than take the train. Usually by 4 PM the only people left in the shop are her and a specific co-worker, so I just hang out in the front area of the shop with my laptop. At 5 PM they lock the door and then both of them gather their things up over the next 15-20 minutes before actually leaving. They're often out of sight, packing up in the back. Last Friday was one such day. At around 5:10, a lady comes up to the door of the shop, a glass door. She saw me sitting there and started tapping on the door. I look up and mouthed, "The shop is closed." She yelled back, "I have a question." I pointed at my wrist and said loudly, "I'm sorry, the shop closes at 5 and I don't work here." She grabbed the handle on the door and started shaking it as if she could magically make the door open. And then she started pounding on the door again. So I set down my laptop and walked over to the door. She screamed, "I only have one question. Can you let me in so I can talk to you?" At this point, screaming was not really necessary as we're only separated by a glass door. I said, "Mom, I don't work here and the door is locked from the inside by a key I don't have. I can't let you in." She screamed, "Why are you being such an asshole? I know you're closed, but it's one question." Then, to emphasize her point, she slammed her open palm on the glass door, which absolutely shattered. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it. It's not like it cracked and spiderwebbed out, it just went shards and fell to the ground. Fortunately, I stepped back, the lady blinked in shock and started to speed walk away. Fortunately, we're in a massive metropolitan city, and I was able to follow her only half a block before I saw a police officer standing on the street. The officer walked us both back to the shop with a woman ranting about how it wasn't her fault, and if I just let her in, blah 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 blah. She called for backup and 2 more officers arrived, and by this time, my friend and her co-worker had come up front. They took another officer back to look at security footage, which is digitally captured, and was pretty much that. The lady got arrested on the spot, and I had to give a statement, and I'm told I'll probably have to testify in court on behalf of the shop owner to get a civil penalty added on criminal charges and help them avoid small claims, which I'll gladly do. Sounds like some sort of zombie woman with some little granny banging her palm on the door like that. Our next story is from Perpetually Polite. Overbearing Karen thinks I work in a doc's office and tries to get me to violate HIPAA, then threatens to have me fired when I don't. So as part of my actual job, my company sends me to different clinics to audit their invoices to ensure insurance companies aren't getting scammed for unnecessary or unperformed patient procedures. Happens more than you know. Normally when I'm at a clinic, they stick me in an unused office or cubicle so that I'm out of sight and don't interfere with their normal operations. However, yesterday during a clinic visit, they didn't have anywhere to put me except front desk with a receptionist. This wasn't a problem for me, since it does happen on occasion, and I'm just there to get the job done and head out. So, I'm sitting there in the front desk looking over at the clinic's documents when the receptionist gets called to the back to assist with the patient. After a few minutes, I hear someone coughing slightly to the right of me and look up. I'll call her Karen, because she had the haircut and the attitude. Karen, in a rude voice, "I've been standing here for the past couple of minutes, and you've yet to acknowledge me. You should be ashamed of yourself. Is this how the clinic is run?" I said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. The receptionist just stepped out for a moment. She'll be back soon. I can't help you as I don't work here." She looks me up and down like she's judging how I'm dressed. I should mention that I'm dressed in standard business attire. Blazer, shirt, tie and black slacks with company logo and a name tag hanging from my lanyard. Karen says, "How stupid do you think I am? You're sitting in the front desk of a clinic dressed like that and you don't work here. I should file a complaint against you with your boss." I said, "Listen, ma'am, I told you already I don't work here. Take it or leave it. I work for company name," and hold up my badge. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get back to work," and I ignore her. Karen's now infuriated. "How dare you? Do you know who I am? My husband works for the owner of this clinic, and he'll be hearing about your poor customer service skills." Me, still looking at documents. "Good for him. I repeat, I don't work here. Wait for the receptionist." Karen tries a change of tactic and fake smiles at me. "Look, I'm sure you're busy, so I won't take much of your time. All I need to know is my daughter-in-law's next OB appointment. Her name is... name. It shouldn't take you too long to find her in your calendar. I just need to know what time it is so I can be here to meet her. Me, now looking at her. Are you deaf? I've told you I don't work here, and even if I did, you're asking me to violate HIPAA laws. Do you know how serious that is? You need to ask her directly if she's actually willing to have you with her, though I doubt it. Karen then says, you don't know what you're talking about. That bitch should have told me when she was scheduling her first ultrasound. That's my grandchild in there, and I need to be here to see him. Now tell me when her appointment is, otherwise I'll have you fired. You need help, lady. You need to leave now before I have someone call security. Are you threatening me? The doctor and receptionist hear a loud commotion and come out to the front of desk. The doctor says, what's going on here? I said, this woman don't understand that I don't work for you and she's trying to find out her in-law's appointment. Karen is now panicking. Your receptionist, pointing at me, has been useless and won't give me the information I've asked for. He needs to be fired. Receptionist to Karen, he doesn't work here. Doctor, I'll take care of this. And she intercoms to the security office. Hi, we need a guard to come to office 123 to escort someone out. She's disturbing one of our vendors and says thank you once they confirm someone will be here shortly. Once Karen realises she's about to be escorted out, I'm not leaving. I have a right to know how my grandson is doing. I have a right. She starts shouting profanities at us for a couple of minutes when a burly security guard arrives and tells her to leave, otherwise he'll call the police on her for trespassing. She refuses, so he grabs her by the arm and drags her screaming out the office. That was the last I saw of her, but the receptionist called her daughter-in-law to inform her what just happened. After the call, the receptionist laughs and tells me that the in-law didn't want the woman anywhere near her or her baby to be. It seems her and her husband are no contact, which explained the part of the craziness. Damn, it's kind of sad in a way though, that we don't know that woman's mental health, but she ain't going to get to see the grandchild. Obviously there's something completely disturbed about her, but she's just wanted to see her grandchild, so it's kind of sad in that way, but yeah, I kind of get it. Our next story is from X in Texas. Finally got to tell a customer what we'd all been thinking. A while back, I was a server/bartender at an upscale restaurant, was dating another bartender and was good friends with two of the managers. The owner was a pompous ass, but had two locations, and was almost never at my location. The other one was in a trendy part of town, so of course he had to be seen there. We had this one lady who loved to come to the bar. She would tell anyone and everyone working that she was friends with the owner. Actually true. And used to treat everyone like crap, snapping fingers, calling out, hey you, I need another drink, all while bragging about the car she drove, the present that her boyfriend would give her. Since she was actually friends with the owner, we just took it. We knew she'd get most, if not all of her tab comped and not tipped, so we just shuddered when she walked in. She had two steady boyfriends and a third that seemed to rotate. She was good looking if you like fake parts. We called her the entitled funt. When she was with a boyfriend, she was only a bit horrible, but when she was alone, she would get really drunk and piss off all the patrons or hit on the older men to the point where they would leave, affecting your tips all night. It's one thing if I know it's just one tab I'm getting screwed on, another thing entirely when you know it affect my whole night. Fast forward about 8 months, I left the job to go back to school full time, but my girlfriend is still bartending there and I would go in frequently to have a meal on the cheap and get a free beer or two. One of these nights, she shows up. Lady snaps at my girlfriend. I need another Chardonnay, quick. Girlfriend who was taking another customer's food order. I'll be right there in a minute. The lady looks at me. You work here, get me a drink. Me, watching the game on TV and eating my dinner, ignores her. The lady gets in my face. I was talking to you. Get me a drink. Mom, I don't work here anymore. The lady says, yes you do. I see you working here all the time. Get me my drink. Don't you know who I am? I know the owner. I look at my girlfriend and give her a little smirk, as if to say, may I? And she nods back. I didn't want to get her in trouble, but the friendly manager was working that night and the owner was nowhere to be found. The stars had aligned. I say, I don't work here, and since I don't, let me tell you what everyone who does work here thinks of you. You are the singly most obnoxious guest that walks through these doors. We call you the entitled funt behind your back. You're a drunk, a gold digger, and a fake from head to toe. We count down the minutes until you leave. I turn to the boyfriend that's with her that night. You know she has at least 2 other boyfriends, right? Apparently no one has ever talked to her like this before, and her jaw is on the floor. You can see the hamster wheels spin in her tiny brain, and knowing the crap show I've started, sit back, take a long drink of my beer, and prepare to get reamed out. But before she can start, her boyfriend goes, what? Apparently he did not know about the other boyfriends. So what I thought was going to be a rant-filled arse chewing coming my way turned completely 180 on her. He starts going off on her, and the restaurant is dead silent listening to him ream her out. How could she be sleeping around after all he has done for her? Cars, condos, presents. After all that, she was effing around on him. He storms out. She runs after him. That was one of the sweetest beers of my life. After the story, of course she called the owner and bitched about me and confirmed I no longer worked there. My girlfriend got written up for allowing me to talk like that, but she never came back to that location. I was banned by the owner, but since he is rarely in, I still got to go hang out with my girlfriend and manage a friend. What a crap owner though, absolutely diabolical that it just lets people come in and treat his staff that way. You did the right thing, my dude. I'd love to have seen that. Our next story is from Joxham13. Old Granny mistakes me for a gardener. A few weeks ago I was working the lawn in my new house. I just moved in with my wife and we're really working hard to make the place homely. I was already finishing up the lawn when I saw an old granny slowly walking towards me. I turned off my lawn trimmer so I could say hello, not have anything fly towards her. When she came up, she kindly asked me, "Excuse me, how much do you charge per lawn?" I looked at her a bit confused, and remembering my attire, I had a hat, some gloves and safety glasses on. And since I was new in the neighbourhood, I understood that she had mistaken me for a gardener. I looked at her and said, "Hello, how can I help you, ma'am?" She kindly told me that she wanted her lawn mowed. She doesn't have much money, she lives alone, and if I was willing to take 20 for the work. I looked at her place and saw the lawn in question was incredibly out of control, as if it wasn't mowed for months, and since it was a small area, I told the kind granny, "Don't worry mum, I'll take care of it." The deed took almost 20 minutes to finish mowing, and an extra 10 to take the trimmings and clean the surrounding area. After I was done, she came out of a small house with a tall glass of water, which I accepted gladly and proceeded to hand me the money. That is when I said, "Don't worry about that mum, I'm not a gardener, I'm actually your new neighbour. I did it because I wanted to, not because of the money." She immediately apologised for the confusion and told me that she was ashamed to ask me something like that. I told her not to worry about that, and it was something I did at the bottom of my heart, and if she needed help with the lawn, to please call again. She began to cry and thanked me profoundly and began to tell me her story. Turns out she was living alone for a while, that her husband died a few months ago. She didn't have anyone to help her, as all her children were living in the US. After the tale, she thanked me again. We went our separate ways. Now, every time I help with the lawn, she always gives me a big bag of fruit from her mango trees or banana trees and a tall glass of water. Man, that was wholesome. I like that. With a nice little wholesome one in the middle there. I don't want to get all Jerry Springer moral of the story kind of thing on you, but I think it's important to look after elderly neighbours. We've got a few around our area. I like to keep an eye on them just to make sure they're okay, especially in winter time. And, you know, just offering a simple hello to them sometimes and just how's your day kind of thing. It really changes them. It really makes their day because some of these people are alone all day. So it's extremely, extremely important to help out where you can. Little things make big differences, believe it. And our final story is from Not a Smurf. No, I won't make you a goddamn sub. Congrats on getting banned from Publix. Found this sub a few days ago, so I thought I'd share a story from a couple of years ago. I used to work in the deli of a Publix down in Florida, which is a fairly large grocery chain in the southeast. The Publix I worked at is fairly close to the Villages, which is the largest retirement community in the country. Probably something in the range of 2/3 of all customers in the store were retirees. There was a larger than average number of rude customers, but there were a few regulars who were really foul-tempered. Of the year or so that I worked there, a 70-ish-year-old woman came in every Sunday and ordered the same thing, a toasted chicken tender sub with shredded pepper jack cheese. She was also the pushiest bitch I've ever had the displeasure of meeting. There was a line and she was forced to wait. She started yelling that we need to hurry up because some of us have places to be. Would loudly complain that the service here is getting worse every year. Would lean over the counter and snap her fingers at anyone passing by and snap, "Excuse me, I've been waiting for service, come here." She has also a habit of whistling at people like they were a dog to get their attention. Everyone hated this woman. She never said thank you, always found something wrong with everything you did. "This sub is burnt, there isn't enough cheese, I didn't see you wash your hands, I don't want that sub, go wash your hands and make me a new one." And never even tried to be polite. Unfortunately, Public has a policy of make it right, so we could never tell her to go F herself like we so desperately wanted to. Eventually I got fed up with every other guest being a miserable old piece of crap, more interested in starting a fight than they were actually getting in deli meats, so I quit. 3 days after I quit, I came back into Publix and stopped by the deli to give one of my co-workers his phone charger that I had borrowed. As I turned to leave, that woman stepped out of line and said, "Hey, you work here, don't you? Come take my order." I said, "Sorry, I quit a few days ago. I don't work here anymore." She said, "I just saw you behind the counter talking to someone. If you have time to talk, you have time to help customers." I said, "Sorry, can't help you. They'll be with you soon." I tried to walk away, but she stepped in front of me and grabbed my arm, and pointed her finger in my face and started screaming at me that I was one of the worst employees she'd ever seen, that I always messed up her order, that I should feel lucky to have a job, and that I need to do as she said, or she'd tell my manager. I yanked my arm out of her grip, told her to go F herself, and walked over to the customer service counter and told the manager there that someone was harassing other customers in the deli line. He said he heard someone shrieking about something and was about to go and see what it was, so he and I walked back over to the deli and pointed her out to the manager. After a short conversation in which he asked her if anything was wrong, she started complaining to him that I was rude and unwilling to help. He told her that I no longer worked here, she was disturbing other customers and had to leave, and wouldn't be welcomed back. She left complaining that Publix sucked and she'd be calling corporate to file a complaint, and I got a few texts from my old co-workers thanking me for getting rid of her. Glad to help, and see you never, you old hag. When I get to 70, I'm going to be an absolute nightmare. I'm going to get me one of those little wheelie things and be bumping into people, just parking in the middle of, like, go to a local supermarket and just park in the middle of the aisle and whinging about stuff. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Anyway, guys, as always, a huge thank you for being here, taking your time out of your day. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch us. If you did like it, please consider hitting that like button and maybe even watching another story. There should be one on your screen at any moment. Have yourself a little cringe binge. I can't believe I said that. And enjoy your day. Much love, guys.